Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Carter Easler. I am the Director of Education at CBD Dog Health and Myco Dog. I know you're expecting to see a bunch of very well-educated and intelligent ladies, and they are about to come on here. I'm so happy to welcome this group of really incredible holistic practitioners and veterinarians who are really kind of trailblazing in this industry and are here today to offer some clarity on a situation that everybody has an opinion about. And I think that something that we often see in this industry, and especially with these kind of novel conditions, is you get a lot of kind of reactive responses that are trying to go the fastest, easiest route to making things better. And oftentimes they're either oversimplified or overcomplicated when the truth is just requires a little bit more of kind of a keen eye and some common sense. So today we're here to give you common sense, and I would love to introduce you to these incredible practitioners, starting with Dr. Cathy Alinovi. We got a countdown here. And please welcome, hi, Dr. Alinovi. How are you?
Hey, Carter. Great to be here. Thank you.
So great to have you here. So for those of you who don't know, Dr. Alinovi, she has been practicing veterinary medicine since 2001 when she graduated from Purdue University, specializes in homeopathy, traditional Chinese veterinary medicine. You also may know her from her cookbook, which she wrote with Susan Thixton, called Homemade Meals for Cats and Dogs. And now she works with clients all over the world and is the founder of the Natural Pet Wellness Center, Healthy Possibilities, down in Clearwater, Florida. I'm so excited to have you here with us, Dr. Alinovi. Thank you for being here. Next, everybody, please put your paws together and welcome to the stage Dr. Odette Suter. Odette Suter is another kind of powerhouse in this industry. She's a renowned holistic vet with over 30 years of experience, studied at the University of Bern. She's the author of the best-selling book, What Your Vet Never Told You, something that we will certainly be discussing today in theme. Another one of these really incredible practitioners who has so many modalities at their fingertips, Chinese herbal medicine, veterinary spinal manipulation, microbiome restorative therapy. I think you're colloquially known as Dr. Poop Lady. So Dr. Suter is an expert in gut health and healing the body from the inside out. I'd love also to welcome to the stage a dear friend of mine and one of my mentors. This is Angela Ardolino. Angela, I love Angela. She is a certified holistic pet health coach, cannabis and fungi expert, and a real advocate for the healing power of plant medicine. She was educated at the University of Vermont School of Medicine for their program in the biology and therapeutic use of medical cannabis. And she is also the founder of CBD Dog Health and Myco Dog, and the host of the podcast, Your Natural Dog. Thank you so much for joining us, Angela.
You betcha.
Okay, everybody. I am so happy to have you here. We are still waiting on Dr. Loudon, so we're just going to get started before she arrives. And once she hops in, then we will add her to the mix here. But, we've been talking a lot about this issue over the past weeks. I mean, I think we've got 3 different Facebook Lives happening between today and tomorrow on this topic. So let's get right to it. I want to kind of hand this to you, Dr. Alinovi, to kind of just help us understand what we know now about where we are with this condition. How do pet parents know if their dog is at risk for this, if they have indeed contracted this, or how to compare and contrast it between other canine respiratory illnesses like kennel cough, canine influenza. Where are we at, and what do we know now?
And you want me to be helpful and not sarcastic? Okay.
Please.
I might be
Do
both.
your best. Do your very best.
And part of it, so when this headline first came out, the first thing I said was, oh, here they go again.
Me too. Yep.
Anybody else remember? I looked it up. In the last 5 years, there have been 5 mystery illnesses every fall. So there's my sarcasm, but let's be real. Okay, it is real. Dogs are getting sick and it's horrible. And I really worry for them. But you're right, Carter. You asked exactly the right questions. Who is it? How do we know? What else is going on right now? Is this not holiday season? Are we not in between travel and different holidays and stress? And it's flu season for humans. It's flu season for our pets. So, okay, kids get sick at daycare, right? So what do we do when we humans are busy is we ask people for help watching our pets. So our dogs are going to go to daycare, our dogs are going to go to boarding, they're going to go visit other places, they come into contact. Kids have cooties. You can put a label on it. Worry, is it kennel cough? Is it this respiratory complex? What is it? It's a virus. And then the bacteria that naturally live in the upper respiratory tract are opportunists. And they say, okay, this host is sick, I'm going in. And who's at risk? It's the elderly, sick animals. This is the same thing. I hate to drag COVID into this, but you remember COVID a couple of years ago? It happened. It started in the fall, moved into the winter. The people at risk were the people at risk of illness, and it's terrible. So who's at risk? Elderly dogs who have something else going on. What do? Really good immune system. That's a whole lot of our next discussion. You can test your way through whatever while the laboratories try to figure out a label. Or how about, look at your dog. What does normal breathing look like? That's not normal. So if that movement isn't normal, you know your dog better than anybody else. It's not right. How about we're not eating? We're not eating as well. Our energy is a little low. It may start with a cough. It may not. And the cough may be dry. It may be wet. And the difference is it just a virus right now? Is there also bacteria? Is there something else going on? So there's a lot going on. And I could give you a million scenarios, but look at your dog. You know your dog better than any of the rest of us. If your dog isn't right, bring it in. Let's get some help and supportive care, and we're going to build immune systems. And here comes the baton.
Yeah, I think that is such a perfect answer. It really, I think what has been reiterated is that it is about treating the animal in front of you, not just some amorphous case of the worst case scenario that people are jumping to these conclusions and not really considering what they're actually looking at in front of them.
Yeah.
Which is what forces them then to run to these antibiotics, steroids, and potentially, these vaccinations that have nothing to do with what is actually circulating right now, whether they're a predictive flu vaccine or otherwise.
Even if you pick the right vaccine, it takes 2 weeks for the body to respond.
Mm-hmm.
If this dog is sick today, we're not going to wait.
Yeah. So, Dr. Suter, I think that you probably, as an expert in gut health and kind of the microbiome, you probably would take a very different approach to preparing an animal in case of some kind of infection like this, rather than, kind of trying to find a vaccine in the last moment. What do you think is the best way that we can set our animals up in order to be in the best condition if they were to encounter something like this?
Yeah. So first off, I saw some comments saying that you have a birthday, Angela, that it's your birthday today.
I know it was yesterday. I'm 29. I'm so excited.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Birthday. And, that really kind of ties into the question that you just asked, Carter. The best medicine is laughter, having fun, going outside, playing, and not worrying so much. Because from what I've read is this mystery, some people think it's a mycoplasma. Anyways, it's been around for a year now. So now we're getting all panicky about it, even though it's already been around for a year. So, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of drama. Maybe there's not enough drama going around in the world. So then some people decided they're going to stir up some drama and scare people. It's like the same with the DCM. The grain free is going to kill your dog. So that drama spread like wildfire. And I still have people think, that come to me saying that, well, what about, grains? Doesn't my dog need grains? I'm like, no, it doesn't need grains. But it's like a deja vu. It's like, we go from one drama to another drama to another drama. And, I frankly, I'm bored with it. I mean, I'm not saying this is not real and we shouldn't take precautions and be careful. And especially if you have a dog that's older, who's immunocompromised, or if you have an animal, a young dog. I mean, there are also young, puppies that are having issues with this disease. And I think it's because their immune system hasn't fully developed yet. And they're also being bombarded with dewormers, antibiotics, because they ended up with Giardia and a ton of vaccines. So their immune system is also very compromised. So the best thing to do is just to take a step back, make sure there's some peace at home, and then, feed them a good species appropriate diet. And then also work on the gut microbiome, since, that was sort of the question. And, for all of my patients, to help them with their gut, first off, I always help them with enzymes and also a product called Ion Gut, because that helps to tighten the junctions between the cells of the gut lining. And when you do that, you can already get a lot of anti-inflammatory action in there, because in Chinese medicine, the lungs and the gut are very closely related. And what they have found too is that when there's leakage in the gut barrier of the gut, then microbes can migrate through the body, and they can also end up in the lungs and other areas of the body. So that can cause some inflammation, pre-existing inflammation. So calming down the inflammation in the gut is really important. And if you haven't really focused much on the gut, that's certainly a good place to start with, food and then some enzymes, because that helps to break down things. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of probiotics because I find that they're a little bit more of a waste of money than anything else. I like to go right for the good stuff. Which is basically poop, doing fecal transplants, and that can be done orally. It's very simple. You buy some, capsules from Margot Roman or from Animal Biome, and you start giving those, and that will really help to support the gut lining and the gut in general. And because we know that all diseases start in the gut, that's a really good place to support the animals' lungs and everything else. But don't be so worried about germs, because we have this fear of germs, but we're surrounded. I mean, we are germs. There are like trillions of different species, and only about 1,400 are actually pathogenic. So let's just use all these germs that are all around and go outside and do things and, have socialization. Obviously, if you know that a dog is coughing, maybe not with that dog right now, but let's not be so afraid,
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think, Angela, you've probably had a lot of experience both on your rescue as well as with your groom shops of seeing these animals, and I think probably in your own life as well, of who've done everything right. They've taken every vaccine, they've eaten the prescription diet. what have you seen when these animals are overloaded with these vaccines? What kind of a toll does that play on their immune system and their ability to actually deal with something like this, if it, may be potentially dangerous when it does come up?
It takes it away. It completely is taking away their innate ability to heal themselves and then become dependent on pharmaceutical drugs. I can't agree more with both Cathy and Odette. And I am not like, you're bored, Odette. I'm pissed off because I feel like what's going to happen next is there's going to be a vaccination for this mystery illness, just like that's the answer to everything. So I feel like, I don't know if it's age, experience. I feel like I've become a conspiracy theorist, and I feel like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Everything we see that they do in human health, we eventually see them try the same shit in our pet health. And I feel like that's what's going on. What was it, 9 months ago when I took my dogs in to get their dental cleanings, I noticed the get your dog vaccinated for canine influenza posters all over the walls. This is, I feel like, the same type of thing. The pharmaceutical companies, they have an animal arm, and I really think they go, hey, Pfizer made $103 billion last year, and they want to make more. And I feel like pets are what they're going to do. And I got on a call with my good friend Bronwyn from Dolce's Legacy, because we're like, these messages we're getting on social media from conventional vets are telling them to go in and get all of their vaccinations, get antibiotics, stay away, everything that is not going to help, and as a matter of fact, make things worse. And let me remind everybody that the antibiotics that are in existence come from mushrooms or the bacteria themselves. And I'm always telling you to just say no to drugs and yes to plants and fungi. And that is because instead of taking an antibiotic that might be an isolate from some mushroom, take the entire mushroom itself, like the Chinese have been doing for centuries, and have been using cordyceps and chaga and reishi as immune modulators, stimulants, kill off any bacteria. Mushrooms have this ability themselves to fight off bacteria. And it just so happens when we take those medicinal compounds out of them and take them, they will help us fight off. They are antimicrobial, they are antibacterial, they are antiviral, they are all natural and have no harsh side effects for your pet. And then to back up with what Odette just said, they're also, when you eat them, when you chop them up and cook them in some oil in the oven or in the pan and feed them to your dog, or you eat them, they are a prebiotic and feed your gut microbiome for 13 days straight. So between hemp that does so many amazing things that we already know, adding hemp and mushrooms, maybe some of your favorite herbs, taking care of that gut, you got it, guys. You got it. You don't have to be, everything is based on fear now. Oh my gosh, this new, pathogen. We have overdone it on antibiotics. We have super bugs. We have super bugs in the human side. We have super bugs, and they're not going to go away. They're going to keep on mutating. It's going to be a problem. And if we learn to help that innate healing system inside us and our pets, we got this. We can do this. At my shop, I would have 70 to 100 dogs come through on a Friday. I was not one of those shops that required any vaccinations or anything. I never had the spread of anything. At my rescue, all I did was take in sick dogs. And of course, if I had someone that was contagious, I separated them until they were better, but I never had something spread. So, and all I did is everything holistic and everything that Cathy and Odette are telling me to do. And if I can do it for 20 dogs at the same time who are all suffering, some even coming off a terrible diet, then you can too. And I want you guys not to be scared and not run. Cathy said go to your vet. She means go to your holistic vet.
Okay, you're right.
Your conventional vet is probably doesn't know what to do. And they I feel like have an obligation to do something. And we all know now, especially those in this group, know that giving an antibiotic is going to really wreck that gut microbiome. So you're taking away their biggest ability to fight off anything they come in contact with. I think I'm done. I'm off on my rant.
Thank you. Thanks, Angela. I wanted to also unfortunately, we started the live stream and Dr. Loudon was not here when we started. So I'm struggling with this software to be able to let her in. I'm so sorry, Dr. Loudon, and to all the Dr. Loudon fans out there. But she has responded to someone's question in the text about how to support gut health. Dr. Loudon is writing into us here. She said, echinacea, vitamin C containing fruits and vegetables, raw goat's milk, colostrum, fresh diets, exercise. You know, it sounds like a lot of these things that we know for ourselves when we get sick, these are the things that we do for ourselves. So that was one of my questions. You know, are we offering our pets the same vitamin C that we would ourselves? And maybe this is a question that one of you can answer. Would it be better for us to find it in this whole food source rather than a tablet of ascorbic acid? Or, you know, is this the same thing for our pets?
Of course, whole foods are always better. It's all to start with whole foods. So fresh food diet, and some people are picky. I'm not. I just want real foods. I don't really care if it's cooked or raw or whatever. Dr. Loudon threw up their goat milk. Raw goat's milk makes my world go round. I see somebody over here asked about in healthy animals, if you're worried, if you're concerned, if your animal's older, start the mushrooms, start the hemp. If you're worried about antivirals, there's the echinacea that Dr. Loudon suggested. Chinese medicine has yin chow, which is a really nice antiviral herbal formula. There are tons. I mean, Odette, you probably use a bunch of different ones. There's so many ways, and it's always whole foods. Orange, vitamin C. This has everything on the package. It's the same thing why we want full spectrum hemp versus broad spectrum derivative, because here's your vitamin C, here's your whole plant, your orange. Everything's put together how whoever upstairs put it all together. It's right there.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Natural is always better, and that's what we need to do in general. You know, when we look at health, is we try to make things really complicated and complex, but if we just go back to basics, we've covered just about everything. You know, covered diet, so that's good. We want to exercise. We want to make sure the gut is healthy, you know, that the animals go to the bathroom regularly. Maybe that might be more of a human problem or cat, but in any case. And then we want to look at the hormone levels, you know, we want to make sure that the hormone levels are in good shape. And then also looking at the nervous system. And I know, Cathy, you and I, we both have a love of the nervous system, and we can nerd out on that. But you know,
that's right.
And the immune system are very tightly connected. So if all the nerves are flowing, you know, are sending information properly to all the different organ systems, then the immune system is going to work much better. So taking the foot off the water hose is what I call it, is really good, because nerves are like a water hose. You put the foot on there, they don't send information. If you take it off, they send it again. So that's a really good way of, you know, supporting the body as well. And then, you know, we talked about mental, emotional health, because if we stress out, then our cortisol level goes up, which then decreases immune function. And same for the dogs, because we're stressed, they're stressed. And so their cortisol level goes up as well, and their immunity drops a little bit as a result. So, you know, if we just go back to basics, you know, be social, eat well, exercise, sleep, you know.
And I see like people putting like quercetin. I want people echinacea. Echinacea is amazing because it is interacting with the endocannabinoid system. I want to say it's number 3 as the third plant that interacts the most after passion flower and cannabis. But I see someone putting quercetin, for instance. That's a flavonoid. So again, if you're taking a full spectrum hemp extract, you're going to get your quercetin. If you're taking a food or eating a food that contains it, you're going to get it. So keep those types of things in mind. And the one point I wanted to make is that my Breathe tonic, I literally created for Odie, my geriatric senior, who I had in the middle of all these other sick dogs that I was bringing in and out. And he had always like struggled with what was diagnosed as collapsing and collapse trachea, which we like solved with hemp, and then started the old man hack. And that's why I literally created Breathe. And I looked at all of the research and how it supported his respiratory, how it would battle any, foreign thing that he would come in contact and help him in his geriatric age. And now that I'm so glad I did it and released it so that other people who have old dogs who might be more susceptible have something. But you read the research and it says if you know something is going around, you literally within 2 weeks can build up your dog's immune system to take on anything and have a good end output. And also remember, we have other herbs in there too. So it's not just the fungi and hemp, echinacea, like Dr. Loudon said. And again, they're all natural. And if you do need help, you can get a pet health coach. You can get an appointment with, do both of you do consultations online? You can get a consultation with the two of them. Dr. Loudon probably does the same thing. Dolce Legacy does consultations to help anybody if you are still unsure or you want to get past that. I call it brainwashing because it's hard to think, yes, these natural things work better than what I can buy off of a shelf or get prescribed to me from a doctor. And common sense.
Yeah, common sense, that's really important because I think a lot of it just goes out the window, especially when it comes to health, because it's a scary subject. It triggers a lot of people's survival fear and survival mode, and then logic goes out the window. And when the car breaks down or there's something going on with the car, we utilize logic, right? The car engine light comes on, what's happening, let's do some diagnostics. But when it comes to our health and our animals' health, it's like, oh, something's happening. How do I fix it? So there's no asking, well, what is actually happening? So that we then can come up with a plan to improve. So logic is really important. And in order to have logic, we need to breathe and calm down, because if we're in a sympathetic mode, fight or flight, there's no logic. Logic goes out the window. So Amen. Taking a break, taking a breath is always good.
And I feel like that's what they're doing, Odette, is that they're just hammering and perpetuating the fear over and over and over again. And now it's on the news and it's just through everything. I want people to know that I came from the news. A press release goes out and they just pick it up. They don't check. I mean, I'm sure the majors do, but I was on a local regional station once a week live and sat there and watched them report as news the same press releases that I got and went, oh, they're trying to sell this or push this or whatever. So understand that a lot of the news that you're seeing or what's going across social media is from a press release that someone wrote. And guess what? I bet if we followed the money, we would find who started it all.
Yeah.
So it seems as though there is at this time, no definitive test for this specific condition. Say your pet does get sick. You've got a dog in front of you that's having trouble breathing. You're getting that coughing. We're not going to probably know exactly what it is. What are your go-to kind of treatments and therapies and ways to ease your animal's suffering while they get over this? What would something that you would reach for first be, Dr. Alinovi?
Dilution's the solution to pollution.
Ooh.
So liquids, right? So what happens when we get a cold or the flu? What's the suggestion? Sleep, tea, broth. Raw goat milk makes the world go round. I just can't tell you. It just makes the world go round. Supports the immune system, prebiotics, probiotics, multivitamin. If all they're doing is drinking goat milk, I can get enough calories in that animal, and we're going to flush the cooties out. I don't ever, never say never, right? I don't have a canned answer because everybody has a different presentation, which is the beauty of traditional Chinese veterinary medicine, is you look at the animal in front of you. But it's what we talked about already. It's everything that supports the immune system. And, I've seen some of the questions on here, like some animals have other things going on. Okay, herbs do not interfere with Western medicine. So if your dog has heart disease and is on drugs, like real Western drugs, all of these herbs that we've suggested are great. Dr. Loudon was throwing in the Manuka honey. It's absolutely beautiful. Depending on where you are in the country, adding humidity may help. In Florida, I don't really want to add humidity. Sometimes you want the opposite. And that's why we have to look at the animal in front of us. But for those of you up north, you have no moisture in your air right now. Humidify that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Can we put anything in that humidifier like thyme, oregano, holy basil, any of the
Beautiful. Those are all wonderful antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobials. That would be lovely. People have concerns on the internet about the use of essential oils. If you're not putting it neat, like directly taking a bath on your pet, most of the time they're pretty safe.
if they're pure.
Right. If they're high quality products, my brain shut off. Oregano, thyme, basil.
Holy basil.
Bergamot, eucalyptus.
Thank you.
Peppermint.
Thank you. Eucalyptus. And several of the companies have respiratory blends. They're lovely. And if your dog doesn't like it, your dog will get up and leave the room. That's your clue that, all right, that's not right for my particular dog. Most dogs sit there and go.
Mm-hmm.
Dr.
I know that
was the one who contributed time. What about adding the dried herbs into food? Like, can we do that? Will it support it the same way because it's getting to the gut?
Similar but different. It gets into the body. It's fascinating that essential oils that get absorbed through the nose or the skin make it all the way into the intestines. They go through the bloodstream, all that. Absolutely. Thank you, Wes. Bergamot. Absolutely. Every way that you can support your pet is absolutely beautiful.
something I think could be potentially quite beneficial in this situation that I've heard brought up is the herb mullein as an expectorant. So being able to get that mucus and snot out. Do any of you have experience using that herb, and what's its best form, whether a tea or kind of the dry herb itself? Does anybody have any experience using that?
Well, I think it will depend a little bit. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Odette. Go ahead.
I think it depends a little bit on the animal too, and what they will tolerate or not. You know, some are a little bit more picky than others, but there are definitely tinctures and then also dry herbs that you can use. And then there are some other things that you can use to soften or, liquefy the mucus a little bit more, which would be N-acetylcysteine, because that sort of breaks up the bonds. I think the sulfur bonds in the mucus. And then other things that I find work well in dry climate is giving a little bit of pear peel tea. So you peel the pear and then you cook the peel in water, and then you just add a little bit to the food. I usually do that in the fall for myself when everything gets a little dry, just for a period of time. So that can help to humidify the body as well, and provide a little bit more moisture, and like what you said, Cathy, earlier about the fluids. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone made a comment, tea tree oil. That's one of the few essential oils that I actually recommend avoiding. That one can be quite caustic. That and also like the wintergreen types in dogs and cats.
Yeah. So are all of you recommending that people kind of isolate their animals at this time still? Are you telling people to stay home from the groomer, stay home from boarding, from parks and seeing other dogs and other people where they could potentially be shedding this bacteria from their dogs? Is that kind of the level of caution you're operating with?
Not me. But then again, I'm not as afraid of it. But if you have an animal, a dog who's a little bit immunocompromised, not healthy enough, and all of that, you could always call ahead to the groomer and ask, or the veterinarian, have you had cases? Is it safe for me to come in? And that way you can keep them a little bit safe, because there's also no point in putting them at risk unnecessarily. But for dogs that are healthy and such, especially in the states where there have not been any cases, I don't see why you would want to restrict it. Plus, respiratory diseases, again, are not just that particular bug. There are so many other ones too. And I think that, once in a great while, having a bit of a respiratory thing happening kind of stimulate the immune system to then be more prepared and more active. And it has a bit of a cleansing property too, because we always have to ask, why did this germ actually show up? Because it's kind of like mosquitoes and stagnant water, right? The mosquitoes come because there's stagnant water. It's not that the mosquitoes actually create the water to be stagnant. So it's the same with microbes. The microbes come because the tissue needs some help. So a lot of these microbes are possibly doing something good. So if a dog were to get a respiratory tract infection, maybe it's actually going to help clean things out, and make the whole system function better, because it needed a little bit of cleansing. So, microbes, even if it may look like it creates a disease and symptoms, can have great benefits at helping the immune system and the whole body to function better. Because in this world we have so much chronic disease, so the immune system has migrated more to autoimmune allergies and such, and then it doesn't have enough strength to actually fight infections. So if we have an animal that is good at mounting a good infection and a good fever and a good diarrhea or a good vomit, that's actually good, because it's capable of cleaning itself out. I'm much more worried with these animals who never get sick and never have anything, and just have these allergies and autoimmune things. I worry more about those, because a good cleansing, from activating the immune system can be very healing.
And isn't there like something to be said that you're getting, if you do get it and you get through it, you now have the antibodies to fight off whatever the next round is going to be. And they're never going to stop. So I have senior dogs, and I am in an RV now, so I have to take them out and walk and go out, everything. And I'm doing everything in my power to support their immune system. But I want to say something about groom shops, because I owned one. Do not take your geriatric dog to a groom shop or a daycare or a boarding facility. End of story. Don't do it. I don't care if they look ugly. If you need to have someone come to your house or learn how to just keep things clean yourself, it is not a place for them. I ran the best place ever, and they cannot take the stress a bather doesn't know not to get water, down their nose or, in their face. It's just don't do it. So if you got a super old dog with issues, absolutely, you're going to keep them from being exposed, because like Odette said, they're not going to be able to fight it off, or it's going to be a lot harder for them to do it. But otherwise, you've got a young, healthy dog, live your life, expose them. How do viruses go away? We become immune, or we learn, we adapt, our body, we evolve. It's not going to stop, and we can't live in fear anymore, and we can't run out and take a pill or get a vaccination every time, because that's destroying our pets' ability to fight it off themselves.
Yeah, microbes are our friends. Without them, we wouldn't be here. So we need to befriend them and, raise the white flag and say, okay, we're going to accept you as friends now. So make friends, Go spend some time in public bathrooms. I mean, not necessarily with your dog, but for your own immune system, because it flies around. So you get your own whatever transplant.
You want to know something funny about that? When I first was going to be a veterinarian, I thought I was going to be a food animal vet. When cattle get respiratory disease, you know what you're supposed to do? Open the doors to the barn. Fresh air. But how come the rest of us as humans and as dogs, we all close in and we need airflow? Get the cooties out. If you have cooties, don't hang out with other people and give them kisses. Like Angela said, don't take your older dog to the groomer, especially while there is cooties going on. So we got to have common sense and just, yes, this is real. Yes, there are animals that are sick. And yes, I think it's terrible. And I feel really bad for them. But I want you guys to feel like living your lives. And when I have people who come to the office and they say, do I need to hide from fill in the blank? My answer is, okay, do you have two-legged kids? Yeah. Do you keep your kids at home when the flu is going on? No. Okay. Why are you doing your dog differently? Build immune system unless something is going on. If you have a human kid who's immune suppressed, you're not putting them out in public. Same with our puppies, our older puppies. So, we don't just blanket listen to the news. And please don't run out and use chloramphenicol. It causes aplastic anemia in humans who touch it and give it to their dog. Who came up with that? I had a client in Texas send me a news story. They're recommending chloramphenicol. I was like, oh my God.
No, I didn't know that about touching it.
Yes, you humans can get really sick just from touching it and giving it to Fluffy.
Don't use mushrooms. Use hemp. Use
herb.
Yeah.
What about silver hydrosol or colloidal silver, as some people know it? Is that something that you can use to flush the respiratory system, the nasal pathway, at least?
Well, if you can get it in, you might hit some resistance there, but you can certainly do, inhalation therapy, like what we did with COVID. A lot of people had the nebulizers, so you can use nebulizers. You can use hypochlorous acid, which is very safe to do that. You can also use hydrogen peroxide, which is like the food grade that you put in your nebulizer. I mean, you have to do the right ratio, and I can't remember what exactly it is, but it doesn't smell bad or anything like that. And so that can be helpful, if you can just put a little mask in front of your dog's nose, things like that. Yeah, ozone therapy might work. I'm not sure how these mycoplasma or whatever the microbe responds to ozone therapy, but ozone therapy is always good. Obviously, you don't want to inhale it, directly. It has to be bubbled through through olive oil, because otherwise it's irritating to the respiratory system, and we don't want to create more irritation already. So, air purifiers.
Angela, can you talk a little bit more about some specific mushrooms that have been shown through research to be beneficial for respiratory issues and different infections like this?
Yeah, the Chinese use cordyceps as a lung tonic to literally strengthen the lungs. Reishi, chaga are amazing. Astragalus, sorry, that's an herb. Did I say all of them? My favorites? Artist conch, which is what I've been walking around that I found in the Redwood National Forest all over the place, which is also called white reishi. But reishi is incredible for stimulating the immune system. I actually found the most beautiful weird video that shows literally how mushrooms, when you put more of them together, become more synergistic and more powerful, go in and stimulate the immune system, and at the same time how quickly within a couple days of taking them that they will go in and of course make some of our cells natural killer cells, but also recognize the bacteria or the whatever it is in the body and attack it and get rid of it. It will not let a virus replicate. It'll stop it in its tracks. So, and all of this, literally people, this isn't information that's hard to find. All you have to do is Google, reishi and respiratory disease or bacteria. It's all out there. As I said, we've taken isolates from so many of this fungi to make pharmaceutical drugs and antibiotics. My point is to take the whole full mushroom extract, which will be even more powerful to not only protect your pet in so many ways, but also help them fight it off if they were to get it. Did that answer your question? Those are my favorite. Those that are the ones that I concentrated and researched the most and found the most research to protect the respiratory system, the lungs, the heart, especially for the old dogs.
And for anyone out there who is missing those mushrooms, you can get a free e-guide, Angela's magazine, Plant and Mushroom Medicine for Pets. We're going to post that here. And there's this amazing chart on here that shows all the different mushrooms that Angela has found and collected research for. And then the different conditions. Here we go. Respiratory system is right at the bottom there. And it shows you which of these mushrooms are beneficial for that, as well as a whole bunch of other conditions. There's going to be a link in there that has this and a whole bunch of other great information in here about mushrooms, cannabis, a bunch of the ones that she just mentioned there. So definitely get your digital copy of this. It's a really great guide that could also give you more information about the herbs that we've talked about here today. We're coming to kind of the end of our talk here today. Thank you all so much for joining us. I just wanted to give an opportunity, though, before we go, could we go around to each of you and could you just give us one piece of advice for everybody out there who may potentially be trying to protect their dogs or help a dog with a respiratory issue? What do you think is the most important thing they need to know at this time with this going around? Angela, do you want to start?
Sure. Trust your gut. You know your pet best, and don't give in to fear or gossip or bullshit. You know better. Get yourself to a nice, calm place, and you know the answer and what you need to do.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing much to add to that. I think that sums it up. Keep it simple.
Great.
Absolutely agree. Yep. Real food, real plants.
Real mushrooms.
Yep.
All right. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Common sense. Work with the dog that's in front of you.
That's right.
Very cool. Thank you all so much. How can we find all of you? What is the best way to find you on the internet? And if you do consultations, please tell us how to find you. Dr. Alinovi?
It's in the list. Several people put it in. It's healthypawfacilities.com, paw like a dog paw. And I do virtual consultations as well as in office. Absolutely. And
awesome.
There's a bunch of others. Yeah.
And she was my vet when I was in Florida.
Aww.
I was.
High compliment. And Dr. Suter, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I have my website. It's OdetteSuterDVM.com. And I offer more of a training program, coaching program to help transform people's animals' health and, take them on a journey to basically think logically and start to learn how to think like a holistic vet. And so that's basically what I offer. And I currently have a major discount. So for anyone interested, that's
Nice.
what I have to offer right now.
Awesome.
Thank
Do you want to mention that discount?
Yeah, it's $600 off on the program.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, it's a very intense, program, but it's really fun. We have a great community and lots of learning and lots of transformation and lots of love.
Great. And Angela, how can we find you?
Oh, AngelaArdolino.com, Your Natural Dog, my podcast. I don't do consultations anymore, but CBD Dog Health does refer to not only our board of advisors, who Cathy is on, who give consultations, but Dr. Ruth Roberts has a pet health coach program, and her first class has graduated. So we got 30 pet health coaches out there who are ready to help you. Bronwyn from Dulce's Legacy is an amazing pet health coach and is awesome with these old dogs that have any type of issues. So I know there's a shortage and it's hard to find a good holistic practitioner or veterinarian, and you don't have to look. You can find them online and through telemedicine or through a consultation and get the help that you need.
Awesome. And also a special thank you to Dr. Loudon. I'm so sorry that our tech was not functional today and that we weren't able to get you in this room. But thank you so much for showing up in the comments. I see drloudon.com is posted there. Please follow Dr. Loudon. She is an incredible resource. She's in Long Island. And we can't thank you enough for also still contributing to this. Thank you to everyone out there for watching us tonight and coming to learn and be part of this community. Really appreciate everybody being part of this conversation and taking a common sense approach to your pet's health.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
Carter.
having us. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
ladies. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.